Thank you very much, Roland. And now, since the IOC Gender Equality and Inclusion Manager, my favorite judoka, Pedro Diaz, cannot be here, we will see his video recorded message. Hopefully, okay.
Inclusion Manager at the IOC. Before I start, I would like to apologize not to be there in person, but our commission meeting was scheduled for this week, and it made it impossible to travel to your beautiful country. Sport is one of the most powerful platforms for promoting gender equality and empowering women and girls. As the leader of the Olympic movement, the IOC is taking continuing actions to advance gender equality. Until 1996, there was minimum reference to women in the Olympic Charter. Today, the IOC mission as part of the Olympic Charter includes to encourage and support the promotion of women in sports at all levels and in all structures with a view to implement the principle of equality of men and women and to act against any form of discrimination. We have been working to accelerate progress towards gender equality and mainstream it through sports since several years. At the beginning, with the Olympic Agenda 2020, the main focus was on the field of play. With our latest strategy, the Olympic Agenda 2020+5, the scope was amplified to go beyond the field of play. To reach those new objectives, we took stock to the IOC Gender Equality Review Project recommendations, and in 2021, we published the new Gender Equality and Inclusion Objectives for 2021-2024. To advance gender equality, diversity, and inclusion, it requires a collective approach. That's why our 2021-2024 Gender Equality Objectives are targeted at the IOC 4 spheres of responsibility. The IOC as an organization, the IOC as owner of the Olympic Games, and the IOC as leader of the Olympic movement and Olympics in society. Across 5 focus areas: participation, leadership, safe sport, portrayal, and resource allocation. It's very important to have this systematic approach on these 5 focus areas. During the Generation Equality Forum in June 2021, the IOC made 2 public commitments to gender equality in sport. The first one was to consolidate the Olympic Games as the biggest platform for accelerating gender equality. To achieve this, we have going beyond athletes' participation to focus on concrete policies and actions. And the second one was to accelerate gender balance in sport leadership. The IOC must be a role model on the equal representation of women in leadership positions. Subsequently, since 2020, the IOC as an organization reached its 30% target of women in decision-making positions. Today, it's 32%. We have made further progress, reaching 41% of IOC members being women, 42% of IOC commissions are being chaired by women, and 50% of commission positions are currently held by women. This represents sizable progress, and one thing is certain is that IOC will continue to push forward in this space. Let's start looking at what we have achieved on the field of play to Paris 2024. For the first time, we will have the same amount of participants from both genders. So in Paris 2024, 50% of the athletes will be women. We have also, regarding gender equal sports in terms of athlete number, we will have 28 out of 32. Regarding the sport with equal number of medal events, we will have 29 out of 32. And finally, regarding the mixed events, we will have 20. It's also very important to mention the progress that we did in the competition schedule. This will allow women to be much more mainstream than they have been so far. But unfortunately, not all the areas are following the same progress. If you look what happened in the NOC delegations for Tokyo 2020, we see that we had only 13% of women coaches. If we go to team management, and I'm mentioning with team management, chef de mission and deputy chef de mission, we only have 17%. For team leaders, 19%. Medical officials, 28%. And finally, other NOC personnel, 29%. In none of these areas, we have reached the minimum level of 30%. And now I would like to share with you the snapshot of the Czech NOC at the Olympic Games. In this specific slide, we are only going to look for the athletes. Okay, so when we have a very balanced delegation, the number will be very close to 1. So in the case of Czech Republic, we can see that the number is 0.71. So it's a good number. It shows that the policies within the country give opportunities for both genders to qualify to the Olympic Games. This red square, it means that in Rio it was a little bit better than it was in Tokyo. But if we change now for the snapshot regarding the officials, we see that the numbers drop a lot. Okay, so we went from 0.71, we go now to 0.44. So this is some of the areas that we are working together with the Czech NOC, and we hope that for the next Olympic Games, the delegation could be more gender balanced. We are aware that in terms of the coaches, it's difficult to do something because the coaches, they come with an athlete. So we are working on it, but it will take longer to have better results. But on the other areas, is it possible to have fast results? So especially in the team management, and the Czech Republic was one of the 24 countries that had more than one team management, and it took both of them from the same gender. So there's an opportunity for Paris to start working on this, and we count with your support. If we go to the leadership of the NOC, in the executive board, we see that the number is still very low, 18%, when it was already recommended by the executive board from the IOC that all sport organizations should have a minimum of 30%. Nowadays, it's not even just a recommendation, it's also written in the book of good governance provided by the IOC. So it should be a number achieved by all the NOCs around the world. And I know that the Czech NOC is working on this. And the Games project will only help to increase this number. And hopefully soon we will have the minimum of 30%. And if we go to the General Assemblies, we see that the number is even lower, only 70%. Okay, so there's a lot of space to increase and a lot of work to do also. What are the NOC priorities for 2024? First, to ensure the participation of women at the Olympic Games and to build a pipeline from grassroots to elite level. The second one, to increase gender balance in all categories of the Olympic Games participants. And as I mentioned before, team management, team leaders, coaches, and so on. And to reach gender balance in government with a minimum representation of 30%, what I just mentioned before. And again, the Games project that is being presented here today is exactly with that purpose, to increase this number. This slide is a little bit to help how to set up for success. First, it should be a priority, and we know that the Czech NOC is devoted to gender equality and to change their numbers and to become a leader in this movement. To understand the context, to define an action plan, and to monitor and report. So again, with the Games project, the Czech NOC has mainly did the first 3 phases, and now it's time to implement it and to monitor and to report. How can the IOC support? Through strategy guidance and expertise, like I'm doing here with you today. We have developed also many documents, like our objectives, like the IOC toolkits for IFs and NOCs for safeguarding, and also our board trail guidelines. And in this regard, congratulations to the Czech NOC. They have been doing an amazing job on promoting this document with their internal stakeholders. And also information and good practice sharing. So we have our website, we also have the NOC NOCNet, we have the snapshots, that was those slides that I have presented you with the participation of the Czech NOC in the Olympic Games. We did it with the 206 NOCs in the world, and also with all the recognized IFs. And I invite you all to participate in our LinkedIn group, working towards gender equality in sports. And finally, we have available a series of webinars. And this said, I finish with my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. Once again, I'm really sorry I couldn't be there with all of you. I wish you a great conference and faster, higher, stronger together. Thank you very much.